Here now joining us, Democratic Congressman Jared Moskowitz of Florida. He serves on the House Judiciary Committee. So, Congressman, you got to look at some of these files today. The Epstein Files Transparency Act only allowed the Justice Department to withhold the personal information of the victims, the survivors, and material that would jeopardize active federal investigations. Did the redactions that you saw comply with the law? And tell us what you saw that concerned you.
Well, thanks, Jake. Thanks for having me. First, let me say, obviously, we're all hoping for Savannah's mom's speedy return to her family.
That reaction you just saw? Those aren't fringe conspiracy theorists. Those are sitting members of Congress who just walked out of the Justice Department after viewing documents that the American public still can't see. 6 men. At least 6 men whose names have been deliberately hidden from files about the most notorious sex trafficking operation in modern American history. And what you're about to learn in the next 10 minutes will explain why powerful people in Washington are desperate to keep those names buried. Here's what just happened. The Epstein Files Transparency Act, a law Congress passed with bipartisan support, mandated that the Justice Department release millions of documents about Jeffrey Epstein's operation. But there's a catch. The law only allows 2 types of redactions: protecting victim identities and safeguarding active federal investigations. That's it. Nothing about protecting powerful men. Nothing about political embarrassment. Just victims and ongoing cases. Today, February 11th, 2026, select members of Congress were finally allowed to view the unredacted versions. They went to the 10th floor of a Justice Department building, a floor so secure that nobody else works there. 4 computers, 2.7 million documents, a 24-page instruction manual just to navigate the system, and what they found didn't comply with that law. Not even close. Congressman Jared Moskowitz described what he saw in terms that should alarm every American regardless of politics: a worldwide sex trafficking ring with people in multiple countries sourcing young children, not teenagers who lied about their age, children. He saw co-conspirators, both men and women, client lists, text messages and emails that referenced other people who should be on that list. And here's the critical detail that mainstream media is glossing over: dramatic over-redaction that looks intentionally designed to protect people. Now pause for a second. When a Democrat from Florida and a Republican from Kentucky walk out of the same classified briefing and say the exact same thing, that names are being hidden that shouldn't be, you need to pay attention. These aren't political allies. They don't coordinate talking points. But they both saw something that violated the law Congress passed. 6 men, minimum, whose names are redacted without legal justification. Who are they? Representatives Massey and Khanna know. They saw the pictures. They read the communications. But here's where this gets even more disturbing. When Moskowitz asked the Justice Department personnel assigned to help him why certain documents were still redacted, they didn't know. The people managing this release for DOJ couldn't explain why information was being withheld. That's not incompetence. That's a system designed to obscure answers. Let's talk about what the law actually requires versus what's happening. The Epstein Files Transparency Act is explicit. You can hide victim names and details from active investigations. But if you're a co-conspirator, if your name appears in emails coordinating the trafficking of minors, if you're photographed at properties where crimes occurred, if your text messages reference dropping off children, there's no legal protection for you. The law Congress passed says your name should be public, and yet it's not. Congressman Khanna revealed that 70 to 80% of the documents he reviewed were still redacted. Let that sink in. Congress passed a transparency law. The Justice Department claims to be complying. But when lawmakers finally get access, 4/5 of the material is still blacked out. The main FBI 302 statements, those are interview reports where survivors described who raped them, completely redacted. Names that should identify perpetrators? Hidden. Now here's where the timeline becomes crucial, and this is what you need to understand about how this cover-up is structured. Back in March 2025, the FBI, using 1,000 personnel, went through these files first and made extensive redactions. Then those already redacted files were sent to the Justice Department. So when DOJ officials claim they're releasing unredacted documents, what they're actually doing is revealing files that were scrubbed months ago by a different agency. When Congressman Khanna asked why specific information was redacted, the Justice Department representative told him, "Sir, we got them this way. We're just putting them up in the form we got them." That's not transparency. That's a shell game. The FBI redacts under one justification: justice receives those files and never questions what was removed. Congress passes a law demanding disclosure, and the agencies comply by showing the version that was already sanitized. It's technically legal while being functionally dishonest. But remember that second clip you're about to see. Moskowitz didn't just see redacted names. He saw unredacted evidence about an international network, people in Paris, Russia, Czech Republic, sourcing girls, his word, sourcing like they're commodities, for Jeffrey Epstein, and then communications about where those girls were being sent. The phrase he quoted should haunt you. We're dropping the child off, not delivering a package, not completing a transaction, dropping the child off. That's how casually these people discuss destroying young lives in text messages and emails that still exist on DOJ servers. Now you might be wondering, if this evidence is so clear, why isn't anyone arrested? Why aren't these foreign nationals being extradited? Why aren't the Americans being charged? And that question leads us to the most troubling revelation from today. This wasn't just Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. This was a worldwide network with infrastructure, logistics, and clients spanning multiple continents, and the only two people ever prosecuted were Epstein, who died in federal custody, and Maxwell, who just made a very revealing offer. Today, Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney announced she's prepared to speak fully and honestly, but only if she receives clemency from President Trump. And here's how her lawyer framed it. Ghislaine is the only person who can clear President Trump and President Clinton and confirm they're innocent of wrongdoing. Notice the structure of that statement. It's not, she'll tell the truth about everyone. It's, she can clear these two specific presidents. If you give her clemency, that's a quid pro quo, information in exchange for freedom, exchange. And there's more. Maxwell was recently moved from a maximum security federal prison. Nobody seems to know who authorized that transfer or why it happened. Moskowitz directly asked, why did Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche move her? What was exchanged in that conversation? Because when Blanche met with Maxwell, she didn't invoke her Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. She talked to him. But then when she appeared before the House Oversight Committee, under oath with Republicans and Democrats both asking questions, she took the Fifth on everything. Hours of cooperation with a Trump administration official. Complete silence before Congress. Let me be clear about what this looks like. This looks like Maxwell negotiating a deal where she provides information privately to DOJ officials, offers to clear certain powerful people, and in exchange seeks clemency and better prison conditions. Meanwhile, the lawmakers who represent the American people get stonewalled. The public that demanded transparency through the Epstein Files Act gets 2.7 million mostly redacted documents that require a 24-page manual to search. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed to protect powerful people while creating the appearance of disclosure. 6 men whose names we know could be released tomorrow. The FBI agents who conducted the original redactions work for Attorney General Pam Bondi now. She has the authority to order a new review that complies with what Congress actually mandated, but as of today, February 11th, that hasn't happened. And here's what should trouble you most. If this is what Congress found in just 2 hours of reviewing files, what's in the other 2.7 million documents? If 6 men were improperly redacted in a limited sample, how many more are hidden in the full database? Representative Khanna said it plainly. We just discovered 6 men in a 2-hour review. His guess? There are many more. This isn't about Jeffrey Epstein anymore. He's dead. This is about a network that supplied children to powerful people across multiple countries, created evidence of those crimes in photos and messages, and then watched as that evidence was systematically hidden behind redactions that violate federal law. Some of those people are still free. Some still hold positions of power, and based on what 3 members of Congress revealed today, some of their names are sitting in Justice Department computers right now, improperly redacted, waiting for someone with authority to release them. Attorney General Pam Bondi testifies before the House Judiciary Committee in 2 days, on February 13th. Congressman Massey and Moskowitz have both said they're giving her the opportunity to start naming names. The question is whether she will. Because right now, the law says those names should be public. The evidence exists, and the only thing standing between the American people and the truth is a series of black bars on documents that Congress has already said violate the transparency law they passed. So what happens Wednesday? Does Bondi order the FBI to unscrub those March redactions? Do those 6 names get released? Does the public finally learn who was in Paris, Russia, and Czech Republic coordinating the trafficking of children? Or does this become another hearing where officials promise cooperation while the redactions remain? The documents exist. The names are known to Congress. What we're waiting to see is whether this administration treats the Epstein Files Transparency Act as a real law or another suggestion they can ignore while claiming compliance.